I did something really stupid when I was gone. Do you want to know what it is?
Is this guy actually gonna go to every Rainforest Cafe in the country? Technically, that title is a lie. I'm going to every Rainforest Cafe in the country and Canada!
This Rainforest Cafe odyssey began by stopping at the closest location to LA in Ontario, California. It's also where I met up with my partner, Eddy Burback. He's dastardly good looking, played a perfect game in Wii bowling, and has a mustache that makes animated Disney movie fathers cry like little wham wham babies. He was perfect.
And as we got closer, my excitement grew. Walking up to that mall and seeing that beautiful sign with running water. The Rainforest Cafe. Don't zoom out. Don't zoom out, because then you could just see most of it's a blank wall, and they just made a little tiny sign in a big, big wall.
Walking into that random mall in California, I knew that we were about to embark on something truly special.
Initial thoughts? I like it here.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be good.
It's good.
If the food's bad, he's gonna have a horrible time.
Shut the fuck up, Jim.
So it's the morning of. It's really starting to hit me that I'm gonna be on the road for 3 weeks. And then I think, like, why am I gonna be on the road for 3 weeks? To go to every Rainforest Cafe in the country. And somebody might say, oh, that sounds fun. 3 weeks of travel on the road with your girlfriend, seeing the whole country. No, not my girlfriend, Ted. So I said my goodbyes to Chrissy, and Ted and I hit the road. 21 days, 18 Rainforest Cafes, and a whole lot of miles. The plan for the day is LA to Phoenix, where we eat at our first Rainforest Cafe. Then we drive a little bit more to Tucson to stay for the night. But on the road, tragedy struck. I like to hydrate, maybe a little too much, and my body wasn't exactly in road trip mode yet. So I had a little bit of an emergency.
So we stopped because I needed to emergency pee, or I was gonna piss myself. In layman's terms, I was gonna piss my little pants like a little baby boy. So we got to the gas station here. They don't have a bathroom. There's a Jack in the Box, luckily for me, right next to it, locked. So I went in that bar and grill.
After almost wetting my pants like a little baby boy, we continued to Phoenix and made it just on time. There it was in the beautiful Phoenix sun, our second Rainforest Cafe.
So yeah, here we are at Rainforest Cafe number 2. Eddy and I decided to share the flatbread appetizer, which was served on a very fancy stone platter, typical of your higher-end eating establishment. And I got a Beyond Burger with one of my favorite sides, safari fries. What makes them different from normal fries? You're eating them on a safari. One of the interesting facets of this location, though, was how insanely loud the elephants we were next to were. And hey, what's a Rainforest Cafe without random animal heads sticking out of the walls without very clear proportion guidelines?
With that, we've hit Rainforest Cafe number 2, on to number 3.
And 4.
And then 5, and then 6.
So after the Phoenix Rainforest Cafe, there is not a Rainforest Cafe until Texas, where there are 4. Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, and Galveston. Or Galveston. I don't know how to pronounce your place. So we split the drive up into 2 days, first driving to camp near White Sands National Park in New Mexico. We showed up and got this camping spot. I could not believe how beautiful this place was. It was so cool to camp here. Then the next morning, we headed on a 10-hour drive all the way to Dallas. But first, we stopped at White Sands National Park. Look how pretty it is. Okay, that's enough. But more importantly, we stopped at the world's largest pistachio. Look at how big this nut is. As we moved into Dallas for Rainforest Cafe number 3, I started to become very confused with the quality of Rainforest Cafes in this state. Because getting to Grapevine Mills, yes, it was in another mall similar to the ones before, I was shocked to find that there were people there, and they were enjoying themselves. They also had fish. Something mysterious and possibly illegal was going on here, and I was sure of it. I got a Rainforest burger again so I could directly compare it to the one in Phoenix. The Phoenix one was just okay, and this one was pretty good? What is going on? The next day, we moved through to San Antonio to eat at a Rainforest Cafe with some friends. And this one was cool? It was on a river walk in the middle of the city? I don't understand. So this Rainforest Cafe is like actually a cool spot to eat. That doesn't really make sense to me. I'm supposed to be in a mall and depressed.
We also met up with some pals here that you may know. This location was cool because it had 3 floors to it. It was really compressed into the location it was in, which was unique to this Rainforest Cafe, I believe. Everyone in the group had a fantastic time, and I was proud to say that we converted them into RFC lovers. Don't believe me? Listen to them.
They gave me a freaking light-up cup, and it was sick.
They had my name on one of the keychains. I really appreciated that.
They ran out of toilet seat covers, but they did have 2 white toilet paper.
Connor had a panic attack.
We were supposed to drive back to Austin, Texas, where we'd then leave for Houston the next morning. Unfortunately, though, the truck started being a bit louder than normal. It's not supposed to sound like that. Fuck. So I drove the truck to the nearest Midas repair shop. If we were gonna stay on schedule, the truck had to be fixed and fast. To see my broken green child hurting like this was almost too much to bear. But what was even harder to bear was what I had to deal with while I waited for it to be fixed. For some reason, at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, they decided to play Saving Private Ryan on the TV at almost full volume. I don't think you understand the fever dream of watching people's heads be blown off on the beaches of Normandy at 7:30 a.m. in a Midas waiting room like it was Good Morning America. And I watched the entirety of Saving Private Ryan. Then I stepped outside briefly to get some air and make some calls, and I come back in to see that Saving Private Ryan was playing a second time. I was in the most uniquely crafted scenario in hell. Thankfully, the truck got fixed in time, but now something within me is broken. Before we left Austin, though, we got a little peek into the rainforest by getting to meet the animals at Alveus Animal Sanctuary. I got to stroll with an emu, which is a terrifying bird that seems like it should not exist, and I made friends with the crows. They will remember me with their 5th grader brains as an ally to the world of crows.
This is a crow.
His name's Abbott.
He's gonna remember my face.
And you know, these animals sort of reminded me of all the mascots for the Rainforest Cafe. They're called the Wild Bunch, and they're all known criminals. You've got Cha-Cha, the red-eyed tree frog, a money launderer. Iggy the iguana, a thief. Nile the crocodile, arrested for drunk driving. Rio the macaw, an infamous poacher. Maya the jaguar, tax evasion. Tuki the elephant, cyberbully. Bamba the gorilla, in the can for assault and battery. And Ozzy the orangutan, weed.
And after a stressful day of worrying about the truck, I will be honest, this Rainforest Cafe broke me. I was exhausted after 5 days of travel, and this was probably the most depressing Rainforest Cafe we'd been to. Look at the mouth on this elephant. Don't look away, don't skip. Look at it. I got the Creole mac and cheese, and while it looks pretty good, it was so rich and filling and creamy that I could only get through a couple of bites, and I felt terrible about wasting this food.
Right now, I am at a low, energy-wise, mental health-wise. This guy's judging me for it. This guy's got his nipples out. I don't even know what this guy's doing.
But we went to bed that night thinking of the Rainforest Cafe we had tomorrow. The #1 Rainforest Cafe in Texas, Galveston. We were greeted the next morning by the most impressive Rainforest Cafe we had seen yet. A beautifully shaped volcanic building along with a handy sign that showed us the one and only Rainforest Cafe ride. This was gonna be one for the books. This location was popping, and we ate some of the most delicious general American chain restaurant food money could buy. Eddie even enjoyed a slushie with that money launderer's head on it.
I'm having the greatest lunch of my life.
This has been the highest high of the entire trip. Ted and I were having the best time of our lives.
What the hell?
Make the sound. Do it, Elvis. Make the... Yeah! Leaving Galveston was like saying goodbye to a childhood friend. Ted and I had surely been changed for the rest of our lives from this experience. And after that, we headed for the night to New Orleans and walked around Bourbon Street. We had a great time drinking. Everything about this place was so much fun. Some days on a road trip across the country, you go to the best Rainforest Cafe of your life and you end the night in New Orleans. And some days, you drive 8 hours from New Orleans to Gainesville.
After breakfast in New Orleans, we began our drive to Gainesville, Florida, and oh my god, what is that? I was blessed with a vision of a mascot character advertising a gas station called Buc-ee's, and I just had to make us stop and check out what the hell was going on.
I forced Eddie to push a Buc-ee's run because we'd never been to Buc-ee's before.
We were out of gas. Ted had to skip multiple gas stations to go to Buc-ee's.
This was the most massive gas station shop I had ever seen. They had everything! Some guy was chopping a brisket like it was the only thing that he had ever learned in his entire life. This beaver was running an empire under my nose the entire time, and they sold everything. They had jelly. They had jam. Is there even a market for pickled quail eggs? Even the ice was funny. 69, that's the sex number. My love for mascots. My love for theme. I just couldn't handle it.
I just feel like you're kind of a sucker for mascotted brands.
What do you mean?
So, the plan for the day was to skip past the Orlando Rainforest Cafes and go all the way down Florida to Fort Lauderdale. But I can't stress enough, you're seeing a montage of this. I was so exhausted. It was 8 straight days, over 48 hours of driving, with pretty much nothing but sleep, driving, and Rainforest Cafes. It was like a woodpecker on my brain. I was so exhausted at this point. And it didn't help that the Fort Lauderdale Sawgrass Mills Rainforest Cafe was in another mall. Oh my god, it's another boring mall. Fun. I got the Blue Mountain chicken sandwich. It was fine. The chicken was really dry, but when I went to the bathroom, I realized something interesting. I was away from friends and family, but wherever I went, these monkeys were here for me. They weren't just paintings on a wall at a jungle-themed restaurant across malls in America. No, these monkeys were my friends. We'd been through stuff together. They were here for me no matter where I went. These were my pals. These were my boys. So I don't know a lot about the future of this trip, but I do know that my mental health is being held up by these monkeys on the wall. And that's how I know I'm doing fine.
Upon arriving in Orlando, we met up with our girlfriends who had just flown in. Nice to see ya. And we met up with Drew and Amanda, who would be joining us for this stop at the Disney Springs Rainforest Cafe. This Rainforest Cafe had an exterior that was an even more intense volcano building than Galveston.
I didn't know it would do that.
And the classic crocodile for this one was just hanging out next to the volcano. Walking into this Rainforest Cafe, I knew that we'd be convincing Amanda and Drew to join our RFC fan club. The atmosphere was on point. This was a pretty good one. Drew and Amanda were having so much fun that we had to take an RFC fan club family photo to savor the memory. Look at us. And since our waiter got lost in the jungle for 40 minutes to find our check, we got to spend extra time listening to elephant screams and thunder claps. Drew was practically overwhelmed with satisfaction.
What a time, Eddie. What a time.
Chrissy, if I murdered him, will you vouch for me to the police?
In order to reach the second Orlando-based Rainforest Cafe, we had to venture into probably the most thematically appropriate place for one to be, which was the fucking Animal Kingdom in Disney World.
We are currently at the most exclusive Rainforest Cafe location, hidden within the confines of a transnational multimedia conglomerate. It's Animal Kingdom Rainforest Cafe. What a delight.
Really, there's a real mouthful.
But that's not the only thing that made this Rainforest Cafe special. This location is the only Rainforest Cafe in the entirety of North America to serve breakfast. That's right, we were there at 9 a.m. and we were gonna start our day with a rainforest-themed breakfast feast. This breakfast selection came with its own menu, with a slew of options somehow more ridiculous than the normal menu. Jurassic chicken tidbits? I raise you Pie of the Viper, a Mexican-style breakfast pizza. It's like they spun those 3 descriptors on a slot machine. We ended up getting the breakfast sliders. I don't know if it was because the eggs were fresh or they just put crack in them, but those sliders were good. I also got a Bloody Mary that morning at 9 a.m., but I only did it because I was trying to get something out of it. But I'll tell you what that is when I finish this trip.
And then we just had fun at the park. And did you guys know that the Animal Kingdom park actually turned the Rainforest Cafe animatronics into like real things that walk around? I mean, the money that Disney has to make these animatronics, look, it almost looks like it's eating off a tree. It was a really, really fun day at Disney, and afterwards, Chrissy and I got to go get some sushi, walk around the boardwalk, and I thought, man, this is such a great end to the trip. I had driven so much, we had accomplished a lot, and I just was ready to go home. Sorry, we're only about halfway through.
Nashville, Tennessee. Possibly the most out-of-the-way Rainforest Cafe on the entire route.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness gravy. Oh, my goodness. Hot dog. Hot diggity dog.
Do you guys think that maybe I could ask the Rainforest Cafe people to dunk Ted headfirst in the tank and leave him there?
We left so early in the morning that we got there before it had even opened, so we waited. It's an interesting sensation to sit in a mall at 11 a.m. and wait for a Rainforest Cafe to open. There was a shocking amount of people in this Rainforest Cafe at 11 a.m. And since this location didn't even serve breakfast, what are you here for? Brunch at the Rainforest Cafe? This location is also where we learned an interesting fact about why some of the Rainforest Cafes get rid of the fish. They spend $3.5 million a year per location just for the fish, which is probably why this fish has been staring me down the whole time we ate. He knew he was more expensive than me, and he wanted me to know it. Either way, Eddie and I were having the time of our lives. I could just tell.
But before we left, I had something very important to do.
Told me I've been cheating on her.
You flirt with that thing?
Ma'am, do you fart with that thing?
I don't mean to be crass, but can I see your mud flaps?
We were heading to the Atlantic City Rainforest Cafe, and we were on a roll. Two rainforest rascals rolling down the open road, going to every location of a beautiful themed restaurant. Everything was going great. Nothing could stop us. That is, of course, until disaster struck us, like lightning to an animatronic gorilla.
We've run into a bit of an issue of a caliber that may be a big problem. Very large problem, actually.
We were driving on the highway and the truck reacted really abnormally to what would be a small bump. I noticed the truck was aggressively leaning to one side, and when I checked under it, I discovered this.
That is the suspension right there. It has snapped off. As far as I know, it would be a really, really bad idea to drive this car without the shocks.
The damage was so bad we had to get the truck towed to the nearest repair shop. For now, Atlantic City had to wait. It seemed like our entire journey was being called into question. I stood there in the drizzling rain of Delaware as I watched my steed be hauled away. The rain felt like what I had experienced in a rainforest, not so unfamiliar to me now. I knew in my heart that there was a way to get this done in 3 weeks. But tonight, we had to stay in hell on earth. Newark, Delaware. This put our road trip plans in a terrible situation. Would we be able to get the truck fixed tomorrow? Or would parts not come and we'd be waiting a day or 2 days? We literally had no idea. All we could do was wait for tomorrow. We received a rainforest miracle. The truck was fixed somehow. They found parts for the truck, and we had a chance to make back the time we lost. But we'd have to go to 2 rainforest cafes in 1 day. So we raced as fast as we legally could to Atlantic City like madmen. And when we arrived at this rainforest cafe, we ordered our food and drinks and immediately asked for the check. We scarfed down mozzarella sticks like starving British orphans, and I sucked down that cheetorita like I was a dehydrated elephant at the watering hole. A quick touch to the Atlantic Ocean, and we kept going, screaming down the roads of New Jersey like our wives were in labor. There wasn't a damn thing that was gonna stop us now.
And we then drove all the way up to Edison, New Jersey, to the saddest rainforest cafe I've ever seen. The employees at other rainforest cafes said this is the worst one, and you can tell by the sign outside and the mall that it's in. Luckily, we were joined by Jakey and Fritz. I ordered a steak at the worst rainforest cafe because I thought it would be funny, and my steak was tiny. Here's my hand for scale, and it was also super dry.
Shout out Wayne Gretzky.
The last little tear said everything, dude.
Jakey and Fritz were so inspired by this Rainforest Cafe that they gave us a little bit of slam poetry.
Rainforest Cafe in the forest, built like a snake. I'm Forrest Gump. I forgot my rake, and he doesn't like to hump.
We went back to New York with Jakey and Fritz and had a great time, but got barely any sleep before we had to book it to the Niagara Falls Buffalo Rainforest Cafe. There we had a spinach dip, and it was one of the better things we had, but I'm so tired of being here. But at least Ted and I were done for the day and could... Wait, there's another one in Canada across the bridge? That's the Canada one? There's two at Niagara Falls? I have to eat another one today? Oh God, we gotta go to Canada now?
Once you have that code, then you can seek entry to Canada.
Oh.
Right now, unfortunately, you're not able to come.
We just got denied entry to Canada.
We got in 5 minutes later when we filled out the right paperwork. This Canadian location was unique in that it was the only privately owned Rainforest Cafe. So the menu was a bit more custom than your average RFC. Even the fish population was custom, and by that, I mean they had a fucking shark. That's my favorite animal from the rainforest. Even the animatronic animals seemed a bit more lively than what we were used to. We also saw this waterfall, but not a Rainforest Cafe, so no reason to care, me say. We stopped at Rainforest Cafe number 15 in Detroit, Michigan. At this point, I could see the amount of Rainforest Cafes we had been to was weighing on Eddie. We had been to so many thus far, and it was probably impossible for him to figure out what his favorite one was. I really felt for him, because I was going through the same thing. From Detroit, we drove to Chicago, where we stayed with Eddie's mom, and on day 17, for our 16th Rainforest Cafe, we traveled from Chicago to Gurnee, Illinois to enjoy another helping of safari fries at the RFC. And this time, we were joined by Danny Gonzalez. Danny and I just clicked. He was a Rainforest Cafe lover like myself, and he might have been having a better time than I was, which is, wow. Like, he must have been a veteran too, because he knew Tracy Tree by name.
It's Tracy Tree.
It's a talking tree that's in every single gift shop of every single Rainforest Cafe, and they say the same thing every time.
Check out the wild selection of toys, gifts, and souvenirs right here in the rainforest.
The tree is a sellout.
And when I went to the bathroom, there were animals there, but my monkey friends weren't there. My monkeys weren't in the bathroom. Do you understand why that's a problem? Look at them, they know I'm having a bad time. They're watching me and laugh, and they think I'm a joke. Ted and Danny were having a blast. I can understand it for Danny. This is his first Rainforest Cafe. Ted, however, how is he enjoying this? This is number 16. So then we said bye to Danny. It was really good seeing him, and headed for another Rainforest Cafe. The next Rainforest Cafe at Mall of America is the original Rainforest Cafe, the reason for all of this. And after driving 5 more hours, we finally arrived at the original source of the Rainforest Cafe. This was my final boss, because every Rainforest Cafe that has ticked a full year off my life has been located in a mall. And not only is this the original place, it's the biggest mall there is in America. This fucking Rainforest Cafe stood for everything that was standing in my way from going home.
Hello, kids. My name is Tracy Tree. Everybody loves animals. From parrots to snakes, monkeys to tropical fish. Hey guys, they all live with me. Here in the rainforest.
Are you being paid by the Rainforest Cafe?
What are you talking about?
How are you still having a good time?
We're going to every Rainforest Cafe in the United States, Eddie. That's a joy.
Parts of the road trip are fun, but then we fucking end up in another rainforest. We've been to 17 Rainforest Cafes.
And don't you feel like the luckiest person in the world?
Why would that make me feel lucky?
You got animatronic animals, safari fries. Have you tried the safari fries?
If I eat another fucking safari fry, dude, I'm dunking myself in the alligator pit. Slowly, as we continue, I'm more and more miserable. Every goddamn mall, every Mills Mall, fucking Katy Mills, Auburn Mills.
Mills Mall are the best ones. They're the ones that bring life to a small town.
Small town, there's suburbs and major cities. It's just a boring fucking mall. I just have no idea how you continue to go to Rainforest Cafe after Rainforest Cafe with the same menu and enjoy it more and more.
Maybe it's because it's all I have.
Oh.
It's all I have. When I was a boy, I went to the Rainforest Cafe and I was a miserable little boy until I stepped through those doors and I saw the animatronic animals. I ate the safari fries. I sipped on the icy with Cha-Cha's head rested upon it like a golden idol. We're going to every single Rainforest Cafe because it's an awesome place. And I don't know what I would do if it was gone.
Do you understand the toll 17 Rainforest Cafes has on your digestive system? I gotta find a moment to try and fix it.
And I gotta find a moment when you'd show me just a sliver of appreciation for this beautiful trip I'm taking you on. But no, we're gonna go to the last Rainforest Cafe and you are going to enjoy the shit out of it, Eddie. I swear to God.
I'm going to enjoy it because it's the last one. I just want to be done with the trip. Just don't even fucking talk to me until we get there.
Well, maybe I won't.
Good.
Maybe I fucking won't.
Good. We saw the Jolly Green Giant, who was very giant himself, but didn't have his own Jolly Green Giant, if you know what I'm saying. The man's, he's got no cock and balls.
I had been a fool. I was so caught up in teaching Eddie about the wonder of the Rainforest Cafe that I didn't see what was right in front of me the whole time. This trip was meant to bring our hearts together, not shatter them completely. Was my love for this mega-corporation-owned themed restaurant misplaced? I couldn't wrap my head around it. Maybe I should just forget about this silly goal and just work on repairing what's left of Eddie and I's friendship. And then maybe... Wait, I forgot Eddie hasn't even tried the famous volcano cake. There's still a chance to save him. The most famous item at the Rainforest Cafe, the brownie sparkling volcano dessert. A giant, rich chocolate brownie cake stacked up high, served warm with vanilla ice cream, creamy whipped topping, caramel, and chocolate sauces. It was my only shot to instill the glory of the rainforest inside young Burback's heart. And what a perfect city for our last Rainforest Cafe, Las Vegas.
So as we arrived to Vegas, I was on top of the world. We got into an Uber and headed for the final Rainforest Cafe. Ted and I decided to celebrate by finally getting the most famous item on the menu, the volcano cake. Watching it arrive to the table was as joyous as I could only assume looking at your child for the first time is. So I got a spoonful ready, and as it hit my mouth, it was very sweet. It was super sweet. But I didn't care because as I was finishing up, I realized that I was done. It was over. And the only thing left to do was say goodbye to all my pals. Goodbye, gorilla. Goodbye, bird. Goodbye, Tracy Tree. Goodbye, gorilla. Goodbye, monkey. Goodbye, gorilla. Goodbye, gorilla.
We had completed our task and gone to every single Rainforest Cafe in North America. And Eddie was a bigger Rainforest Cafe fan than ever. Look how happy it is. There's no other reason why he could be happy right now. We gazed out onto the bright cityscape of our final stop, and we almost couldn't believe it. Ontario Mills, Galveston, Texas, Bloomington, Minnesota, Niagara Falls. We had done them all. We were true heroes.
Home sweet home. Oh, shit. So, I am now back from my journey across the country. And to be honest, even though this bit was very dumb, I'm really proud of what me and Ted have done over the last 3 weeks. We got to travel the country and see so many amazing parts of it, meet a lot of really cool new people, see family and friends. But I think at the heart of all of it, the big thing that shines through is the Rainforest Cafe. Not only is the ambiance of every restaurant incredible, but really what it's all about is the food. The Iggy's Piggy sandwich, the Mojo Bones, the Creole mac and cheese. It nourished me on the road trip in ways that I could only describe as food or in my stomach. So I have to thank you, Rainforest Cafe, for being such a friend to me during this trip across the country, because really, you were the best part of all of it. And on that note, I should say that I'm lying. Oh my God, I will never step foot in a Rainforest Cafe ever again.
And what did I have to show for it, you may be asking? Well, every Rainforest Cafe gives you a free souvenir cup every time you buy a specific type of drink. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a souvenir cup from every single Rainforest Cafe in the country. Guinness Book of World Records, your move.